everybody, how's it going? What's up? So today I'm going to be trying to explain something that everybody's been trying to explain for so long, the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline. Since Five Nights at Freddy's 4 came out, people have been making videos all over the internet, but they're all mostly confusing, and Game Theory has not made a proper video on it yet since he's been disproven in his last Five Nights at Freddy's video. We'll just try to forget that. But before we start, there's one video that it was very crucial to me getting this whole timeline figured out. The majority of this timeline is that video, so I'll be linking it here and in the description below. So go check the guy out. He's a really cool guy. He has a bunch of cool videos. So let's get right in. The first in the timeline is obviously Fredbear's Family Diner.
We're going to try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that.
There's no set date, but it's safe to assume that it's set in the 1970s, as Phone Guy said in his call.
If I were forced to sing those same stupid songs for 20 years...
If it's 1993 in Fnaf 1, then it's safe to assume that it's somewhere around 1970 when all of this starts. For some reason, the owner sells the company to Fazbear Entertainment. The reason is most likely because of the murder that happened outside of Fredbear's. Everyone should already pretty much know that the location that the FNAF 2 Give Cake minigame is set in is Fredbear's Family Diner. As we all know, the kid that dies in that minigame is the puppet. So who does the kid in FNAF 4 become? Well, he becomes Golden Freddy, aka Fredbear. Well then, who does the fifth kid that got killed in the Foxy Go 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 minigame become? Who knows? Maybe since he was killed at the sister location, that'll be explained later, but maybe since he was killed at the sister location, he possessed the sister location Spring Bonnie or Fredbear, since Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy were going to be taken up by 4 other kids. Well, if the FNAF 4 kid becomes Golden Freddy, who does the secret 5th kid in the puppet minigame become? Simple! There are 2 Fredbears, one at the FNAF 4 location and its sister location. He just possessed the sister location's Fredbear. And one more thing, who's the Fredbear plush? I like to think he's a representation of the first victim talking to the FNAF 4 kid, telling him what to watch out for. When the Fredbear plush says that he'll fix the kid, he's saying that he'll let him live on in some form or another. Not saying that the first kid possesses Fredbear, I'm just saying that this kid is represented as the Fredbear plush. Plus the puppet hadn't been invented yet, so he hadn't possessed the puppet yet. Then the next place in the timeline.
Welcome to your new career as a performer/entertainer for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Right now we have 2 specially designed suits that double as both animatronic and suit.
This is most definitely the place in FNAF 4. 2 suits that double as wearable suits, and the tapes line up with the days in FNAF 4.
There's been a slight change of company policy concerning use of the suits. Don't.
Like in FNAF 4, on night 3, you see someone in a suit, while in an Easter egg, you see the purple guy helping someone into a regular suit. No one is seen in a Fredbear suit from night 3 onward, while the suit's discouragement on the tapes begins with the 3rd tape. They get new suits and start discouraging the old ones, but at the same time, they still need animatronics, so they keep them on stage. Parallel to these events are the events at the sister location, mentioned in the 3rd tape.
After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the suits temporarily unfit for employees.
One little side note here, as Game Theory said in his video, these spring lock failure victims go on to become Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. As MatPat explains, the one that died in Fredbear becomes Shadow Freddy, and the one that died in Springtrap becomes Shadow Bonnie. Moving on, a sister location is a location that has the same name as its sister location, but is managed by someone else. When the phone guy says sister location, he's referring to another Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The sister location has more animatronics than just Spring Freddy and Bonnie, as we see in the Fredbear and Friends Easter egg. This is why the kid sees not only Springtrap and Fredbear, but Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy as well. And one huge thing to point out, this kid is not the Bite of 87 victim. Let's go back to what Phone Guy says about the bite.
They used to be allowed to walk around during the day, too. But then there was the Bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
So we know these things. It happened in 1987, the victim lost their frontal lobe, the animatronics were no longer able to roam free after that, and the victim lived. First of all, there's the Fredbear and Friends Easter egg that is labeled 1983. Some might say that's when it was established, but if that's when it was established, it would most likely have EST 1983. Then there's the fact that the animatronics weren't allowed to roam freely after it. The kid was lifted into the mouth of a stationary animatronic, ruling out the possibility of a roaming animatronic being the culprit in this instance. Also the fact that this kid's whole head was smashed, not just his frontal lobe. Now for the last fact, the kid dies at the end of the game. In the last minigame, you can hear a heart monitor flatline as the kid passes on. In the game, we're playing as the kid in a coma after the bite. This is why all of the animatronics are monsters to him, and why Fredbear is the biggest, scariest, and has the most teeth out of all of them. He either died after 7 nights, and I say 7 because the 8th night is purely for the game and not the story, or he died after a couple of years. The location is shut down while the sister location is quote-unquote left to rot. Keep that phrase in mind for later. Now we move on to the events of FNAF 2 with a grand reopening. What Phone Guy explains is very similar to the newspaper clipping in FNAF 1. One thing to point out before I go into this next part, the newspaper said that the murder took place in June, but it's November in FNAF 2. So how could what Phone Guy be explaining link up with the newspaper clippings in FNAF 1? Well, perhaps he recorded his messages in June and then Jeremy got them in November. Well, this isn't plausible because in the Night 6 newspaper it says, after being open a few short weeks. Also, Phone Guy wouldn't know to say,
what on earth are you doing there?
Well, perhaps you get your paychecks in November, for whatever reason. It's the only plausible answer. I could just revise this whole timeline, but I don't have the brain power to do that. Just to refresh your mind, 2 kids were lured to the back room on the night of June 26th. June 26th is Friday, and what happens on night 5, which is most likely a Friday?
From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, especially concerning any previous employees.
That's suspicious, isn't it? And then there's the fact that the morning shift just became available. Seems like an employee was fired for something.
Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
One clipping says that 5 children are linked to the incident that happened there. These kids most likely end up possessing the toy animatronics. If this happened in the day, then the puppet probably resurrected them by night. And you might be thinking, how could they be the toy animatronics if we see their spirits being put in the old animatronics? Well, those aren't the 5 kids you're thinking about. Those 5 kids are the spirits of the victims of the Foxy Go 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 minigame. After all of this time, the puppet is finally able to do something with these spirits that have been lying dormant for 4 years. The culprit was identified and caught the next morning. He was convicted, so if the purple guy was convicted, then how could he go on into the events of FNAF 1? Well, let's look at something. The sister location was shut down because of the murder that happened there. What I mean is the Foxy Go 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 minigame. The murder that started pretty much everything and what got Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Foxy possessed. This is set in the sister location because it's the only location that has Pirate Cove. At first I thought that the purple guy killed 5 kids, but why would he travel all the way to a sister location just to kill kids? We see that he works at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, so if he wanted to kill, why wouldn't he just kill there? Well, let's think about a theory that has been left behind for a long time. 2 murderers? This makes sense. This murderer probably lives closer to the sister location, so he murdered at the sister location, which is where the Foxy minigame takes place. Perhaps him and the purple guy started working together. Maybe the murderer got caught and was convicted, while the purple guy was able to live a happy life. Now we go on to the sister location, which is also the FNAF 1 location. How do we know? Well, this building existed alongside FNAF 4 in 1983. If this building would go on to be used in 1993, it would definitely be in disrepair, and FNAF 1's building is definitely in disrepair. This place was shut down most likely sometime in 1983 due to the Foxy Go 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 minigame. The evidence we have to support that this is the sister location is the fact that Foxy comes out of Pirate's Cove, which the only location that has Pirate's Cove is the FNAF 1 location. This is where the phone guy dies. He's always been a part of the company's wrongdoing, but he's never had a full picture until he decides to look into the heads in the back room.
Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there.
This is also where the purple guy dies. After the place closes, he dismantles the animatronics and unknowingly releases the spirits that eventually lead him to accidentally kill himself inside Springtrap. Then, FNAF 3. This is when Fazbear's Frights opened. Oh, hey, look! We found an old animatronic. We should use him. There's totally not a murderer's dead body, as well as his restless spirit inside that animatronic. In FNAF 3, there are 2 endings. The bad ending represents when the kids don't get their happiest day. The good ending represents when they're finally able to cross into the afterlife. and a crazy pyromaniac animatronic burns the place down. Well, I don't actually know what caused the fire, but he's dead now. At least we thought. Whatever, I guess we'll just see what happens now.
Hello everybody, so I just want to say thank you guys for watching. If you did, I don't know if you did, I hope you liked it. This took me forever to make. It took me at least 3 days to come up with the script for this timeline, and while I was writing it, I'd always find a new plot hole in my timeline, so yeah, no, I had a bunch of problems with making this, but I finally worked it out. I really hope you liked it, and once again, I'll be linking everything that I used in this video down in the description below. So go down there to see all the music, all the not pictures, because there's so many pictures in this video, but all the videos that I was inspired by, or what I used for the timeline, and all the music and stuff. So yeah, that's it. So if you liked it, press that like button, share this with your friends and family. If you like my content, become a recruit today, and Grumpy Cat says goodbye.